Hey bros, Ash here. Welcome back to Gen Sense. Hope you're well. I feel like this is deja vu. I feel like we've been here before. Now, I've already ordered both the main fragrances I'm gonna talk to you about here today, but just in case you're completely unaware, there have been two new Hawas fragrances dropped. Technically shadow dropped. They just popped up at JOMASHOP today as I'm filming this video. You wanna know the craziest thing about this? I shot a video legitimately just a few days ago, ranking out all the Hawas fragrances from best to worst. And I swear to you, when I shot that video, which you'll see when it comes out, I made like an offhand comment basically saying, wait for it, Rasasi is gonna drop a Hawas fragrance that's a clone of, we're gonna talk about it in a second, but I friggin' called it. I could see the future, dude. It's time to play the lottery. That's all I'm saying.
I hope I win.
But yeah, a couple new Hawas fragrances that I'm gonna make you aware of. They are all ready for sale. Like I said, my bottles are already on their way. So in rapid succession, you know, this is gonna come out and then first impressions videos won't be too long after it. There's also a new Armaf Odyssey fragrance being dropped, a new L'Essel DC by Issey Miyake, and also a new This Is Him. So a few other little scattered releases in there as well that we'll touch on. Most of this info I'm pulling from ifragranceofficial.com. That's gonna be linked in the description as well, so feel free to check them out down there. And also in the description, you'll find a whole bunch of different codes that you can use to save money across different fragrance discounters, including JOMASHOP. So if you want to pick up those new Rasasi Hawas fragrances, that's where they are. You can use those codes. And if you're looking for other things, you know, check the other sites, use those other codes, save yourself a little extra cash. Now, one other thing I want to touch on really quickly, I was derping around earlier today, I do this sometimes, looking for trademarks. And a lot of people do this actually in the fragrance world to see what is potentially coming down the line. Because if you find a trademark for a fragrance, then you think, yeah, they're probably gonna release that eventually, right? So I did find a trademark today. Feel free to Google this or whatever, you should be able to pull it up as well. But it's for a new Giorgio Armani fragrance in their Acqua di Gio line. Technically, this was filed last year, so kind of late last year, but Acqua di Gio FORTE. Now, obviously, I don't have any additional information or anything like that, and I do like how it has the translation on here. Gio's water, strong. So basically just Gio's strong water. Sick. Acqua di Gio FORTE, yeah. So I don't know when this is coming. If this is coming, you would assume it is, because the name is actually kind of cool because it's different. You do eventually get tired of all the absolutes and all of the elixirs in the world, so to see FORTE is like, well, you know, at least it's different. But I would assume if this is coming out this year, that we'll probably hear about it before too long, I would think, because, you know, we're heading directly into summer right now. So hopefully we hear about that soon, Acqua di Gio FORTE. I just want to let you guys know, because some people may find that interesting, that, you know, that's possibly coming in the very near future. Let's talk Hawas. So there's a couple new fragrances that they are releasing. The first one we're going to talk about is Hawas Overdose. It's a great name. It's a great name. So the write-up for this fragrance is actually technically coming from JOMASHOP, and it is as follows. Discover the bold appeal of Rasasi Hawas Overdose, a men's fragrance that brings modern power and rich character to every spray. Nice. This fragrance offers a striking blend of oriental, spicy, and aromatic notes that create an attention-grabbing first impression. Crafted by Rasasi, a respected Middle Eastern fragrance house from the United Arab Emirates, this scent reflects quality, depth, and a confident style made for today's man. Hawas Overdose opens with a vibrant mix of oriental, spicy, and aromatic notes that feel warm and energetic. The heart reveals orange blossom, gaiac wood, and dry amber, adding smooth depth with a refined edge. As it settles, vanilla, praline, and ambergris create a rich, lasting base that feels sweet, sensual, and memorable. This layered composition gives the fragrance a strong presence that works well for day or evening wear. So yeah, that whole note breakdown off the top, aromatic, oriental, and spicy notes, which, yeah, those are just types of notes, but whatever. In the mid, dry amber, gaiac wood, and orange blossom. In the base, ambergris, praline, and vanilla. This one is a clone of PDM's Altair. In case you couldn't tell by the color of the freaking bottle, because it is written in the stars that any brand that comes out with a fragrance that smells similar to that PDM has to have that shade as their bottle color. Otherwise, if people saw it, they'd be like, what is that? I don't know, I can't tell, man. That color is different. I was thinking it's a PDM, but the color's different, dude. Is that Savage? Is that what that is? I meant to say Savage. Sorry about that. You didn't have to cut me off. And going back to what I was talking about before, when I did the Hawas ranking video that's not out yet, which I'm not gonna put the video out until I get these 2 new ones in so that I can put those wherever I would put it. I'll do like an addendum. But I'm pretty sure it was that video. I made kind of just an offhand remark. And I was like, hey, I can't wait for Rasasi to come out with the Hawas fragrance that's a clone of Altair in the next month or so. It didn't even take a month. A week later, apparently. And look, I know there's a bunch of people out there who anytime a Hawas gets dropped, they're gonna be super hyped. It doesn't matter what the fragrance is, what it's a dupe of, what it smells similar to, they're gonna be hyped because of the name, Hawas. Because the original Hawas and also some of the first flankers like Hawas Ice, Hawas Fire, those were huge releases, especially the original. That one crushed for years, you know? But they're not kicking a dead horse. They are putting a small nuclear device inside that dead horse's booty, and they are digging a hole, and they're kicking it in, and they are blowing it into little microscopic pieces that shower all over the earth.
True that.
It is insane how many different Hawas releases they're coming out with, and this one would have made sense like 2 years ago. Think about it, bros. We've already got Liquid Brune, right? That's been out for 2 years, and that one really has almost a stranglehold on the market. Lattafa's got a version out, Afnan's got a version out. Lots and lots of people have versions of this out already, and then because it's so saturated with all the different options you have, a bunch of people are going, well, we still want to kind of do something with that. Let's just make a blend. Let's make a hybrid. So they're taking 2 fragrances, one of them being the PDM, and they're just popping them together and then going, well, we'll do that, right? Freaking crazy. And look, I don't know if this is a straight up 1-to-1, which it looks like it just based off, again, the color scheme and everything. That's usually what the Middle Eastern brands do when they're making a straight up dupe. Try to get either the bottle style or the color scheme really close so that people connect the dots immediately. But I don't know if it's that or if it is kind of a hybrid deal, but they are late to the party. I'll say that much. And adding a tiny bit of intrigue, and take this with a grain of salt, because this is something I've heard from other stores and other people in the fragrance world, but you know, the word on the street is that Rasasi is kind of like split leadership wise, and so that's why you have a lot of like competing releases and stuff just getting absolutely hammered and spammed coming out like this. So that's Hawas Overdose. PDM Altair coming very soon, It's already out. Let's talk next about the Armaf, and then we'll dive into the other stuff. So the Armaf is Odyssey Soda Pop. Now the Odyssey line is low-key really good. It's big. There are a lot of fragrances in the Odyssey line, but some of them smell really, really nice, especially for the price point. Most all of them are inspired by fragrances. So, you know, you have stuff like Mandarin Sky, which smells similar to JPG Scandal. You have Aqua, which smells similar to Invictus Platinum, which also means it's gonna smell a little bit similar to Bad Boy Cobalt. You got Odyssey Mega, smells similar to Y Eau de Parfum. So, you know, you got a lot of that going on with the Odyssey line, but typically really affordable, and in general, very easy to wear, those fragrances. And now we got this. And I actually first saw about this one on Instagram because they were apparently having like a big party in Dubai, like a big launch event, you know, and a lot of people there. So it looks like they're putting a lot behind this. They even have a paid press release on Yahoo Finance that pops up if you search for the fragrance. I know that because it says right at the top, this is a paid press release. Contact the press release distributor directly with any inquiries. There's also some info on Fragrantica here, which I'll share with you really quickly. Odyssey Soda Pop by Armaf is a 2026 fragrance from the Odyssey collection, built around a cola-inspired gourmet gourmand theme. The composition opens with citrus notes, ginger mint, and a Coca-Cola accord, develops through lavender, neroli, cinnamon, nutmeg, and black tea, and settles into a sweet woody base of vanilla, tonka bean, amberwood, sandalwood, patchouli, frankincense, benzoin, and white musk. At least there's more than 3 notes. It is presented in packaging inspired by a soda can. Let's hope Coca-Cola doesn't come and try to sue them. Would it have been better with a Pepsi Cola accord? RC Cola? Who knows? Now, personally, I do like fragrances that have kind of a cola aesthetic to them, you know, that bubbly, fizzy, effervescent sweetness with spiciness mixed in that a number of fragrances have. Some people call them cola accords or root beer, Dr. Pepper. Like, there's a bunch of scents out there that have that sort of vibe. I don't know about any fragrances that I personally own yet that are like solely focused on that and only that. So I'm cautiously optimistic here because I love fragrances that have that sort of vibe to them, especially in the opening. But then on the other hand, it's like, well, how's that gonna work if that's the entirety of the fragrance? You know what I mean? Obviously there's a ton of other notes in here, but if they're leaning into soda pop as the name, then you would have to assume that that's probably gonna be noticeable, that kind of vibe, that kind of accord for most of the lifespan of the fragrance, right? Because is it really a soda pop fragrance if you spray it on and it's Coca-Cola and then 30 minutes later that's gone and never comes back, and at that point it's tea, incense, sandalwood, patchouli, and tonka? I think that would be kind of a pretty quick change up and people would go, this is not what I signed up for. What the F is this? So we'll have to see. Hopefully also not sugary induced coma type of sweetness, but like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic. Let's talk the other Hawas. So this one is called Hawas Highness. Now, obviously when you hear Highness, you're like, oh, like a king, right? A king or a queen or something like that. But when they released one named Highness and one named Overdose at the same time, I'm like, wait a second. Exactly what kind of highness are you talking about? Yeah, you thought you snuck that one by me. You're ripping huge hits on bongs, aren't you? I'm on to you, Hawas.
Wanna smoke some weed?
Rasasi Hawas Highness is a bold men's fragrance that brings a rich modern edge to your collection. Launched in 2026, this eau de parfum spray is made for the man who wants a scent that feels confident, refined, and full of character, as compared to the people that want a fragrance that has no confidence, that smells like complete and utter garbage trash, and that has an absolute dearth, a lack of character. And lots of people are after scents like that, I think, yeah. This Middle Eastern fragrance opens with a vibrant blend of citrus, spicy notes, and amber, creating an instant impression that is fresh, warm, and inviting. The heart reveals a smooth floral mix of rose, violet, and jasmine, adding depth and balance to the scent. As it settles, patchouli, vetiver, and cedarwood form a grounded base that feels earthy, clean, and masculine. They say that this is a smart choice for men who want a fragrance that stands out with elegance and strength. The scent name, Hawas Highness, captures its regal feel and extreme stonerism. Oh no, polished presence. That's what it says, polished presence. And so according to iFragrance Official there, the official notes a top of amber, citrus, and spicy notes, a mid of jasmine, rose, and violet, and a base of cedar, patchouli, and vetiver. And here's the weird thing about this one. iFragrance Official, it says that this is a clone of Parfums de Marly Castley. Now, if we look at Castley's overall scent structure, the note breakdown anyway, got bergamot, pepper, neroli, petitgrain, ginger, grapefruit, rose, akigala wood, benzoin, leather. Not really like a one-to-one there. You know, it's pretty different. And that kind of harkens back to what we saw with the previous Hawas releases. So the first one, Overdose, that's pretty easy to draw the comparison, right? But with Hawas Exotic and Hawas Lava Gold, when those were announced, Lava Gold was pitched as basically an alternative to Oud Maracuja. But then in actuality, it doesn't really smell super close to that at all. And then Hawas Exotic on iFragrance Official, kind of as it was, you know, announced, was pitched as an alternative to Elixir Absolute, Le Male Elixir Absolute. And it's got similarities, but you know, it's not super close. Not enough to be considered a one-to-one anyway. And then you got this one, same kind of deal going on, where it's like, oh, it's Castley. And then you go, what? It doesn't look the same. And they go, don't worry about it. And of course, there's already Onyx Silver out by Codlage, which is a pretty highly regarded alternative to Castly, so technically they're a little bit late on this one, but at least not as late as the last one. So again, both of those are already ordered, they're on their way. When I get them in, I'll let you know how good they are, which one is better between the two, and all that stuff, how they compare to the other fragrances, both the original and potential other alternatives. Now let's hit just super quickly the other new fragrances. Le Sel DC Parfum, new one by Issey Miyake. This fragrance line, kind of sneaky. Yeah, Le Sel DC is one of those ones that came out, and initially a lot of people were like, I'm not too excited. It's it's an Issey Miyake based off of salt. Don't care. But as time has gone, both the original and the Eau de Parfum have gotten a lot of people that really love them. Now, the difference between the EDT and the EDP mainly was the introduction of incense in the Eau de Parfum. So, kind of like you would expect, like the new one, the higher concentration gets to be a little deeper, a little bolder, et cetera, et cetera. Unfortunately, the full notes not available for this new Parfum edition just yet. So hard to tell like really what they've changed. But again, from the Eau de Toilette to the Eau de Parfum, the change was not massive. So my expectation is they push it just a little further down that path, make it a little bit deeper still, obviously more expensive. Probably pump the incense. I imagine they're also gonna add in sort of an ambery vanilla sweetness in there also. That's the most obvious path. That's what they usually do with this kind of thing. But we'll know about that before very long. So if you're a big fan of Le Sel DC, there you go. And then finally, quickly, Red Hot, the newest flanker in the This Is Him line. So they didn't have notes available for this last time I did a This Week in Fragrance. Now they do. Pretty simple note breakdown. Raspberry, red apple, leather, vetiver. I am a bit intrigued here because that duo of raspberry and red apple could really command attention off the top. If they do it well, then it's gonna be that kind of fragrance that opens just amazingly. We'll see if it has enough staying power to last and to really, fulfill what you want in a fragrance, because a great opening is part of it, but that's not all of it. The main thing to pay attention with this fragrance is as it becomes more affordable, if it does pull things off well, it's gonna be one of those ones where if you know, and then you scoop it up on the cheap and you're good to go. Because these ones usually, once they hit discounters, you're looking at $50, $60 a lot of the time. So it's either gonna be one of those sneaky fragrances where people really into scents know about it and they rock it and they wear it, kind of like Missoni Wave. And then people who don't really follow fragrances a lot have no clue about it. At the same time, they could fumble it and it could suck. So I wouldn't go and, splurge and buy this at a high markup. If anything, wait for more info to come out on it. Just be aware that it's there. All right, guys, there we go. Let me know what you think about this Hawas stuff. I was making jokes about how they're gonna have one per month, 12 releases at least this year in the Hawas line. I think we're gonna get more at this. I know we're gonna get more if you include the women's ones, because they also have Hawas Glitz. And then they have Hawas Chrome that was announced, which technically isn't available anywhere, but they gave it to some influencers. And then there was another one that was like that, Hawas Venom. That was months ago. So they got like secret Hawas fragrances that they announced months ago, that they sent bottles to people for, that haven't come out. And then they're shadow dropping new Hawas fragrances that nobody knew about before those ones that they announced months ago and had people doing videos on. What is going on over there? Yeah, let me know what you think. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.